Today's interview is brought to you by Psychotoxin Press, www.psychotoxin.com. I don't care what your flavor of horror in, whether it be novellas, short stories, or full-length novels, they have it, with thousands of selections to choose from, all written by indie authors. And also, great news! Use this promo code HorrorRealm10 and you'll get 10% off in your first order. And make sure to tell them that the Horror Realm sent you. Go down that link in that subscription box, click on it, put in that promo code HorrorRealm10. Check it out. Psychotoxin Press. Hello everyone, welcome to the Horror Realm. I'm Travis Bruce, and today I have with us, he's an author and he has a novella that's coming out soon that's called Obscene. I have with us Andrew Parker. Andrew, welcome to the Horror Realm.
Heyo, it's good to be here.
You got a badass shirt on too, man. Badass shirt on.
Thank you. Trauma, you got to represent, man.
All day, every day. Yes.
Yep.
Indie, all day, every day. So tell us all about Obscene.
All right, Obscene is it's a novella now, but I originally wrote it for my friend Shelby's podcast. Her show's called Scary to Sleep. And I'd been meaning to write something for her for a while. And I had started writing this story a while back. And originally it was just kind of a little standalone thing, but I had ideas to expand it. So I gave her the first part of the story, and her audience really enjoyed it. So I kept writing parts until I kind of wrapped the whole thing up. And now I'm going to be releasing the whole thing in one nice, neat little bundle.
Nice. And I hear it's the title is Obscene. I hear it's a little obscene. I've heard that her podcast got some little bit of hate mail.
Yes, yeah. For the most part, her audience really, really liked it, but some of them weren't really super into the splatterpunk or body horror aspects of the story. And they let her know. They let her know for sure.
So how did you come up with this idea for the story?
It's an interesting story. So the main idea of the story is like this guy, he's like a fetish performer, and he gets involved with a new group of people that he's never worked with before, and they push things way past his limits, and the opposite of hilarity ensues from there. And actually, I had the idea because I had the delightful real life experience of being a fetish performer in a past.
I was about to ask you. Yes.
Yeah. I did probably about 15 years ago. I was involved in that scene, and I did a bunch of videos with a bunch of studios, and I ended up working for this one studio that they produced really extreme content, really extreme, like female domination type stuff. And their idea of entertainment was pretty fucked up. And I had some really nasty experiences working with them. And it pretty much led to me quitting the business completely. And like they ended up the performer and one of the performers and the producer ended up going to prison probably about 5 years after I quit working with them because of what they were doing. It was like all like female MMA type stuff where they were just beating up guys. And at the time I was trying to push the limits of like extreme content. I wanted to be involved in something really edgy, and I definitely found it with them. And there was a few times I shot with them that I wasn't sure if they were just going to finish me off. Like it was,
Wow.
Yeah, they messed me up pretty bad. And I kind of poured that experience into the first part of the story, which is like just basically shoot gone really, really, really bad. And then I took it much further from the truth after the first part. But I also used those parts to kind of explore my feelings about what had happened to me working with those people and being kind of violated and traumatized and injured and stuff. And we made it a whole full fun revenge story.
So how do you get into the fetish performer industry?
It started out, I used to, I've always been like kind of like a goth horror guy, and I used to go hang out at this club called the Castle in Ybor City in Tampa, and it was like a goth alternative club, and they had they did fetish night like once a month, and they had like a big masquerade fetish ball with like, people getting whipped and people getting hung up on like hooks and stuff through their skin over the crowd and stuff. And they would have dudes who would hang out there and they would do rope bondage, and then you'd just go up and they'd tie you up and you could go roam around with your arms tied, or they could they would make like a big web and they'd like hang you up on it. And I did that and it was fun. And it got me a lot of attention with, the ladies there. And so, I would just.
So were you the one getting tied, or were you the one tying?
I was the one getting tied. I did that a bunch, and there was always tons of people who have little studios or they do photography and stuff, and they would always be like, "Oh, we'd love to work with you," and I was like, "I don't know if I want to do that," and eventually I said yes, and that's what kind of got me into that industry.
Interesting. So I mean, this hasn't been recently, but I've had my experience going to BDSM clubs, and so the rope bondage, the fire play, all that stuff. I've definitely seen that stuff, and it's a dark scene.
Yeah.
It's a dark scene.
There's some nasty people in it. It sucks because it attracts some nasty people, and it's tough too because there's a lot of trust involved in that. And when you're in the position that I am, where you're being more the submissive there, you are putting a lot of trust in people, and they want to break it, they can break it, and that's kind of where the story kicks off.
So how graphic are you going in the story?
It got pretty graphic. There's some blood and some guts. There's some torture. There's some pretty violent revenge. I enjoyed it. It was a fun ride. I actually tried to pull some punches in it. I know a lot of Splatterpunk authors don't like to pull their punches, but in Obscene, I really tried to hammer home the psychological horror of all of it. And I felt like if I went too crazy with it, it gets pretty crazy in it, but I felt like if I just went balls out totally crazy, it would kind of take away from some of that psychological horror. And so I tried to pull my punches a little bit.
Now, to my audience, there might be like 2 subscribers who don't know what Splatterpunk is. Can you give them the explanation on that?
Yeah, Splatterpunk's like your more transgressive horror. It's it's usually very extreme, usually very gory, pushes the limits, which is I've always liked to push the limits. Obviously, that's what got me into all that stuff back in the day. But it's not for everybody, and it's all about seeing how far you can push the envelope.
At any point, did you say, "Oh shit, this is too fucking far"?
There definitely is well, yeah, there was a scene that like made me kind of sick writing it that involves a bucket in the last part of the series, and some people definitely said that it tested their limits, but otherwise, I don't know, my limits are pretty high, so.
So one of the things I saw when I was when I attended these clubs was a lot of men got off on like having their balls mashed, and with women with high heels, and I never understood that.
I don't particularly understand that either. I definitely did some of that in my career, and that was not my favorite. That was definitely not my favorite at all.
What does that feel like? Andrew?
It hurts a lot. I mean, it's just imagine, like we've all been hitting the balls before. Just imagine
Yes.
that, like a lot more focused and repeatedly.
Because I never understood that, because there was men there who would orgasm or climax from that, and I'm like, I would just cringe from seeing it. I'm like, whoa, like.
Well, I think in a lot of cases it's the act of submitting there. Like that's what I think in a lot of it with the more extreme, like enduring pain. I think a lot of it is being submissive is what like the big takeaway is from it, because it's like it doesn't really look sexual,
No.
and it's like. And I think that's what a lot of people get off on it is. It's like, I mean, aside from it being taboo, of course, I think a lot of it is the making yourself vulnerable and submitting to whatever the person has in mind for you.
Okay. Yeah, because I mean, I've seen knife play, I've seen fire play, I've seen the rope play, and I was like, wow, I don't know. I was like thinking, so is it the pain that is? Because some people are like, I don't have any tattoos because I don't like pain. But I know a lot of people say they get off from getting tattoos. Like it feels good. Like the pain feels good. And
yeah. Yeah, a lot of my friends that have them are like, yeah, no, I just love the feeling. It's funny. It's like I probably should be a tattoo guy, but like I have a funny story. On my 18th birthday, I was driving to the tattoo parlor to get a Spawn tattoo on my shoulder because I love Spawn, and I crashed my car on the way to the tattoo parlor. I kind of took that as a sign from the universe, and I never started, so I'm still got pretty virgin skin here.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I love the idea of a tattoo, but like I would never get one because I've witnessed like friends and people getting tattoos like in person, and I'm like, I can't fucking do that. That's and it's a long fucking process too. It's not something quick.
Yeah,
like. But some people enjoy the pain, so I was assuming that. I was like, okay, with the BDSM, with the spankings, the rope play, the fire play, the knife play, I've seen taser play. I'm like, maybe those are the individuals who get off from pain.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, there's definitely masochism in the mix there, but I sometimes I think some of it is mostly the submission, the giving up the whole your autonomy and trusting in somebody and doing whatever it is that they want.
Yeah.
At least in the more extreme stuff, because like that's getting your balls stomped on. That's not fun for anybody.
I actually seen that numerous times, like my own eyes in person, and I was like, fuck. I'm like, fuck. Like,
I feel like it's like climbing Everest or something. It's not fun, but you're like, I did it.
No, like, I'm like, fuck. I mean, I assume that's like fucking trauma. I mean, so when you had it done, were you fucking in pain for days or?
Nah, well, I mean, I don't know. I consider myself to have like pretty high pain tolerance. I always bounce back quick from stuff like that, but yeah, no, well, with the ball busting stuff, I recovered pretty quick. With like the beat down stuff, sometimes it would take weeks to recover because like, your body's got to heal and you're all lumped up. And I got my nose broken a couple times. I got ribs broken, teeth were broken. It was that was all with that and that was all with that company that the people ended up going to prison. So
holy shit.
Yeah, no, it was nasty stuff. And like, yeah, and they, it got to a point where they kept ramping up the violence, and they started ignoring my safe words and stuff, and it was just super, super not chill experience. So I kind of walked away from it.
That's fucking scary. Now, I mean, were you restrained or anything while you were getting beat by these women, or?
Sometimes it was, and other times it was like, I mean, after, because sometimes they go on for like 20 minutes, and like, you know, you get concussions and stuff, you know, getting kicked in the head and stuff. So like at a certain point it becomes hard to even defend yourself. So and that was the times that like got pushed past my limit, and not a fun experience.
Well, I mean, but at least you were able to take those traumatic experiences and put them into, you know, a story and something that people can enjoy.
Yeah. No, it's like I actually, I mean, it was kind of a process writing it. I had to dig deep and back in like the archives of memory and stuff, and really dig into like some of the feelings that I felt at the time, and then dig into some of the feelings that I had, like currently with, because you know, like that type of stuff sticks with you, especially like
PTSD.
Yeah, no, like legitimately, I had to go see a therapist and stuff after all that, and it's like a weird feeling, because like, you know, like probably the worst moment of my life was occurred like during one of those videos, and it's like, and that got sold to a bunch of people, you know, and for them to get off on. And I explore a lot of that in the story too, where the this idea that you're suffering is becoming someone else's entertainment.
And who's getting off of this? Is this men who are getting off from these videos, majority?
You know, I think it's a mix. But like in my experience, it was mostly men. It was mostly for a male audience, I think.
Okay. Yeah, because I can't see women. Maybe women. I don't listen. There's some weird fucking women out there. Maybe some fucking women are into that kinky shit. Yeah.
I mean, I could see a woman wanting to watch a guy get stomped by a woman, but you know.
You think so? I'm talking about, yeah, maybe in a movie setting, but I mean, real life, actual blood and shit. I don't know if women are into that.
I think it depends on the person.
That's true. That's true, because I mean, I've seen women get off on the flogging.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's ones that enjoy pain. There's all different types, you know. You know, you got your sadists, you got your masochists, you got your everyone in between. I think I always kind of considered it like sadism porn, or like, you know, it's like torture porn. It's like I know the word is like more usually associated with nastier stuff, but like hurtcore is a very good like word for that type of content, because it's like, I don't really think it's that sexual. I think it is about watching someone get fucking hurt. And I don't know, it takes special's not the right kind of word for it, but it takes a special mind to like be into that, you know? Yes, because like with the company, with that company that I worked with, I think part of it was like the guys not really being willing and not enjoying it, you know?
It's almost like a rape vibe.
Definitely ultra invasive, ultra bad. What ended up getting them in trouble was they were recruiting like homeless people to do it for the videos.
Oh,
yeah, like guys down in their luck and stuff who really needed the money, and and they, you know, they give them like, they'd promise them like $100, but then, you know, they'd start the video and be like, I don't want to do this, and it's like, well, you're not getting paid unless you finish, you know. And I mean, you could tell from like, I you know, I've gone back and watched a lot of the stuff that they produced, and like just out of morbid curiosity, and it's like, you know, I think their audience got off on the kind of unwillingness of it, which really does go against like most, you know, well, it goes against like the spirit of like BDSM and stuff, where it's like, you know, it's like you want everyone should be consenting, you know, you should be allowed to do whatever floats your boat, whatever tickles your pickle, you know. Yeah. But like, you know, when it comes to like the nastier sadists that sometimes are in that community, I think what's the word for that? There's something for it when it's like unwilling, and it's I forget. It's like a certain brand of serial killer where they get off on like torturing people who are not having a good time, you know?
All right, so I'm actually going to be doing a little docu-series, like it's probably be next month, February, right? And I'm going to be uncovering some of these groups and like investigative undercover type shit. And I made a comment. I made a comment, and some people agree with me and some people disagree with me. And I said, I feel like a lot of people who are really hardcore horror fans are into that shit. I feel like hardcore horror fans and BDSM like kind of go hand in hand.
There's definitely a lot of crossover. Definitely.
Yes. Because I've even come across, I've been doing this for like 9 months, and I've talked to a lot of different filmmakers, and like I've even talked to one who like does I believe it's called self-harm movies. Have you heard of those or seen them?
I think I know what you're talking about. Stuff like slaughtered vomit dolls and stuff like that, or like August Underground, where they have a lot of that featured in it. Yes.
Where people are like nailing nails through their hands, and yes, the vomit. Like that. And there's a lot of people who I follow in the indie horror scene who followed that stuff too. And that stuff is like, that's when you start getting, I don't judge that, but like that's when you start getting into the dark realm.
You're definitely kind of dancing with the devil there. It's like I think what's important when you're consuming that type of content is like the reason you're doing it, because it's like, I mean, as a splatterpunk author, well, I mean, as a splatterpunk author and as like a splatterpunk like enjoyer, I like to see the limits pushed. I like to see how far like it can go, how crazy can we get, how violent can it get, how gory can it get, but I'm also not beaten off to the stuff, and I'm not like secretly planning to do it myself, and I think like there definitely are some people who are, and it's like, I worry that those people are free, free in society,
and they'll get arrested and be like, well, it's from Andrew's book, a novella. I got these fucking crazy ideas.
Yeah. I absolve myself of that. I wash my hands of it. It's entertainment.
But it's a dark world out there, man. When it comes to fucking horror and Splatterpunk, it's a dark fucking world, because there are those guys and gals who get off on that graphic violence.
Yeah, definitely. I've definitely read some stuff where I'm just like, this person is fucked up. This person is fucked up, and it's like, I hope that they're just writing this because they want to shock their audience, I hope that this isn't like their like secret fantasies, like they didn't just transcribe their journal,
And I hate to bring this movie to, I'm constantly giving this movie a free plug, but I don't know if you've seen my interview with the director of the movie Darius. It's the most disturbing shit I've ever seen in my life. You got to watch the interview. But I describe it as the movie is a fucking masterpiece. It's beautifully shot. I mean, the cinematography, the fucking noise, but it's the most disturbing shit I've ever fucking seen. And I've seen some I've been a mortician for years, and I've seen some disturbing shit.
Yeah.
That shit. That movie Darius is on a whole nother fucking level of disturbing, and it's on so many different fucking levels, and like, there's people out there that are into that though.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's definitely people that are into that. There's people I think those people that like to push themselves and see what they can stand. Or there's there's always the morbid curiosity. It's like, the classic train wreck thing. It's like everybody looks, you got to look, you want to see, you want to see the insides,
That was me. I would listen. I couldn't stop watching. I was disturbed, but I couldn't stop watching.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't.
No, I'm kind of like that too, where it's just like, I'm like, what the fuck's gonna happen next? Like, this is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I mean, like, sometimes I just like to make myself feel bad.
Yes. I felt so dirty after watching that movie. I'm telling you now. I was like, damn, I need to go to church or take a shower or
I need a
douse
good
myself
drink.
in holy water or something. Like, I'm like, I just feel like a fucking deranged pervert or something after watching that shit.
Yeah.
Masterpiece. At the same time, the movie was a fucking masterpiece, but the most disturbing shit I've ever seen.
I'll have to check it out.
Yes, definitely check out Darius. Don't fucking, by the way, don't be sending me fucking hate, for you having to go see a fucking therapist or a counselor after seeing that fucking movie. I made clear warning that shit is, whoa, it's not for the average person. So, like, yeah.
Yeah.
And it seems like Obscene is not for everyone either.
It's not really. See, like, I tried to not make it super shock value. And I know some people love, like, just pure shock value, but a lot of it's pretty shocking, but I tried to give it more purpose. Mm-hmm. Not to say, I definitely don't want to discount people who write like shock stuff. Cause like, I can appreciate that a lot, but like with Obscene, I tried to have a purpose for a lot of the shocking stuff,
Mm-hmm. So what was something that, like, you were thinking about putting in your novella that you were like, this is too fucking far, and you decided not to?
Well, at one point in the story, the main character kind of becomes brainwashed by these like people who produce these fucked up like snuff films, and they're feeding him drugs and stuff to make him more pliable to their demands and stuff. And like, I had thought to write some sequences where he's doing the stuff that they want him to do, but I left that out because I thought it could be kind of a little bit more impactful for him to like just know he did something fucked up. Like he wakes up and there's like a plate with like blood all over it, and he'd like, he feels sick to his stomach, and he throws up and he tastes blood, and he's like, it's implied that he's like eaten some part of a person, and like, it's honestly on Splatterpunk like levels. I think some people would call it kind of like soft, but I really tried to focus on the horror of the main character, because I know a lot of people like, they write like from the perspective of a serial killer, but I tried to write it from like the perspective of a guy who like was made to be a serial killer against his will, and like who's like just dealing with this like, oh my god, like I'm like not even a human anymore and stuff. And so I like kind of opted to not show that. I thought about doing it because I'm like, oh man, I think because I really like gut punching my audience. A lot of my other short stories that like haven't really been released yet are like all based on like trauma. Like with Psychotoxin Press, I released a story about a guy having to put his dog down, and then something really messed up happens when it's happening. But that's a trauma. Originally, my idea for it was like a guy being executed, like by the state. But then like, I was like, how can I ground this in trauma that most people have, so that I can really, really like make my audience feel bad.
Yeah.
And that's like, I want to have like my audience connect with my characters and the things that are occurring to them, instead of it just being like kind of looking through a window at something horrible. I want them to be in the main person's shoes. So yeah, I definitely like to play off of traumas that other people might have, or maybe their fears,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I kind of opted not to get into the super graphic details of this guy murdering innocent people. Definitely got into the details of him murdering people who deserve it, though.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So, and this is out on Kindle right now, or
It should be out on Kindle very soon. My
Okay.
friend Shelby adapted it for her show Scary to Sleep, and she does the narration. She does music and like full sound design and stuff. And it was actually it was pretty fun. Like she told me she had a ton of fun doing the sound effects for it because she does a lot of her own sound effects. And she said there was one part where she had to like go to the butcher shop and get a bunch of chicken guts to like make the sound of this like really gross thing that happens in the final part. And she knocked it out of the park. You can listen to it there if it's not out on Kindle yet, but it should be out on Kindle in the next few days as of recording this. I'm not sure how quickly this will go up, but I'm trying to have it out by the time that happens. So
perfect. Well, it's the first of the year, so it's a new year. So,
right on. Oh yeah,
Yes,
it should be out by then. Yeah.
Awesome. Now, this is something else. Speaking of which, you also have a podcast.
Yes, I have a couple podcasts actually. I've got my show Crypta, I've got my show Ghosters, and I've got a Vampire the Masquerade Chronicles, kind of like D&D but with vampires that I've been doing with some of my friends, called At Dawn They Sleep. I'll go through these one by one. Crypta it's like a comedy audio drama. It's kind of like an audio cartoon because it was originally written to be a cartoon, but I am not an animator. I can't draw, and that shit is expensive. So we finally opted to make it an audio drama, and that's just about Bigfoot, the Loch Ness Monster, and the Mothman, and they've all been captured by the U.S. government, and they're living in Area 51 together and trying to learn what it means to be human.
Mm-hmm.
That one's pretty fun. That one's good. We got a pretty awesome cast for it. I don't know if you're familiar with Last Podcast on the Left, but Henry Zabrowski of Last Podcast on the Left is the doc, the crazy scientist who's in charge of the cryptids. We've got some comedian friends of ours that have done voices on it, and that one's a ton of fun. And then we got Ghosters, which is my favorite thing that I've been doing lately. And that's it's just about two paranormal investigators. They're complete amateurs. They're total goofs. And they're just trying to get like YouTube famous. And they're constantly bumbling their way through paranormal adventures, causing all kinds of issues, and then having to save themselves.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Yeah, and that one's really fun. We originally made that for Channel 101. It's like this like it was a film festival where everything is all submissions have to be 5 minutes or under. And basically the way it works is they approve 5 new pilots every month. And so there's 10 shows and they have like a screening of it. And then the audience all votes for which ones were their favorites. And the top 5 shows, they get to make another episode, and the bottom 5 shows get canceled. So they're, if the creators want to continue with stuff, they have to make a new show. And Ghosters, so during the pandemic, Channel 101 couldn't do their film festival anymore. So they started doing audio dramas, and that's where we came in. And Ghosters ended up being the longest running show on Frequency 101, the audio version of Channel 101, which just recently ended because, the pandemic's over and I think they weren't getting as many submissions anymore. But yeah, I'm pretty proud of that one. It was a ton of fun. It's so much fun doing all the audio and sound design and getting to play different monster characters and getting to be this like kind of silly version of myself in it. And then At Dawn They Sleep is a thing that I've been doing with some of my friends out here. I live in LA, and a couple of my friends that do horror effects stuff. like visual effects, sculpting, and all that shit. They love role playing, they love D&D, and they love this game Vampire the Masquerade. And they asked me to come sit in with them for a new chronicle, they call it. It's not a campaign in Vampire, it's a chronicle. And we've been doing that. I think we're on like our 7th session now, and I've been having so much fun with that. It's a ton of fun. Our buddy Andy Chavez, he's the storyteller, kind of like the dungeon master, and he's been playing Vampire since the 90s, and so he knows all his stuff, and he's been doing a really good job of throwing crazy stuff at all of our characters.
Amazing. And you can find these on YouTube as well. I know.
Yeah.
I know. I know
At Dawn They Sleep is on YouTube. I haven't ripped the audio and put it up on a RSS feed yet, mainly because that costs money, and I'm already paying for 2 other shows that don't make me any money. But yeah, and the other 2, it's like if Spotify, iTunes, all the other ones, a bunch of them just, I think, like, I want to say Google Podcasts just like disappeared. I think that's gone now. I remember it was on Stitcher for a while. Now Stitcher's gone. Yeah, but if you listen to podcasts, you can find it wherever you listen to them. So,
well, I'll have the YouTube link down in the description box, so definitely click on them.
Right.
And by the way, guys, subscribe. When it comes to
subscribe. Comment. All that stuff helps with the algorithm.
Yes, I mean, listen, everybody who's watching my channel, for the most part, you're either a horror fan, you're an indie horror fan, so forth. Subscribe, comment, support indie, because guess what? We don't make shit unless you guys subscribe.
Exactly. There's not a lot of money in this. We're in it for the love of the game here. Yeah. And that's what I love about indie so much, though. It's so pure. It's so pure because, like, no one's really making money off of it, or if they are, it's like a pittance compared to what these like heartless, like, major conglomerates and stuff are doing. And indie's where the heart is, and the heart needs blood.
Exactly. So, by the way, I gotta subscribe to your channel. I'm gonna do that.
Right on. Thank you.
Yes. So, I mean, yes, because. And the other thing is too, it doesn't hurt to subscribe. I don't know why people have an issue with subscribing. Like, they watch all of your fucking videos, but they don't want to subscribe. And
I always see it in like my analytics. It's like 30% of like the people who watch like our sessions and stuff are non-subscribers, but they keep coming back. It's like, guys, just hit that little button, man.
I know.
Once I hit 1,000, we can put ads on it, and then maybe we'll make like a little bit of money.
Because I did the Face of Horror contest videos, and
I watched some of those videos about.
They're fucking great. And I think combined they did like 10,000 fucking views. I definitely don't have 10,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, how the fuck did that work?
I don't know, man. Well, you hit the algorithm good, I guess. I have one video on YouTube that like it's got like 90,000 views or something. It's just it gets recommended all the time. It was an audio show I did for Frequency 101. Actually, it was I just read trip reports from Arrowwood over like scary music of like just people being like, I took too much acid and I saw the devil and I killed the neighbor's cat. And it's just like, because that shit scares me more than anything. There's definitely some of that in Obscene is drug horror, because man, I don't know how much you've dabbled in that, but I've done my dabbling. I'm about done with it now. Oh yeah, no, I don't.
That's it.
Yeah, no, that's a good line to stop at, especially at the age we're at. But in my younger years, I definitely dabbled, and I had some horrific experiences with psychedelics and all that fun stuff. And that's
So I have a question.
Horror.
So I have a question. Heroin and crack. Have you done those?
I may have done crack once. Never done heroin. Yeah, we're just telling all the secrets on this. We're telling all the secrets on this thing. I actually like my.
I mean, that's what I do, man. That's what I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay. So tell me what is the high on like? I know what I feel like when I smoke weed, right? Or take an edible and that, right? It's just a nice mellow. What does the high feel like on crack?
I didn't like it. I did not like it at all. It was like, I remember I felt like fucking like energized and like tingly all over, and like I had like drums in my head. It was like I was in the middle of like a fucking jungle drum circle. And my crack experience was a very unpleasant experience. It was like, it was during the time when I was doing all of these crazy like videos and stuff, and I was just,
yeah, so you're probably definitely needed some crack.
Oh yeah. No, well, I was on a self-destruction kick at that point in my life, and it's actually like a ridiculous story how it happened. I used to hang out at this karaoke bar, and I would sing songs for drinks, and this guy kept buying me drinks and like being like, oh, do this song, do that song, and then at one point he's like, hey man, you want to go get high? And I thought he was talking about weed. I'm like, hell yeah, man, let's go get high, dude. I'm broke as shit. I don't have weed. And so, like, yeah, we go and we go take his car, and then we go picked up a homeless guy named Fred. And at that point, I probably should have known something was up. And then we drove over to like the area of the neighborhood that I lived in. And then I really should have known what was up, because that was the bad part of town. And yeah, and they got some crack, and I was like, oh fuck it, I guess I'll try it. I'm like, I'll try anything once for the most part. And I mean, back then at least. Nowadays I have a little bit more self-control and like self-preservation, but back then I was just like, fuck it, I'll try it. And I tried it, and I hated it. I really didn't like it, and immediately I'm just like, I want to go home. I want to go lay down and like wait till this wears off. But a little known fact, crackheads tend to be very paranoid. And
really?
Yeah.
Because I live in Baltimore, and I don't know if you know anything about Baltimore, but we're the heroin and crack capital of the country. We're also the homicide.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But, and I live in yes, and I live in a community is outside of Baltimore. It's called Dundalk, and everybody in Dundalk is on fucking heroin. Like everybody, either meth or heroin. So like you drive anywhere in Dundalk and you see, you see The Walking Dead. Everybody's on heroin in fucking Dundalk, and I'm always wondered like, what is that like? Because they come back to it. You know what I mean? Like, what is that? I'm always wondering, and you go to Baltimore and everybody's on crack, running around on crack, and you see them looking back all quick and shit. And I'm like, is that the paranoia that you're talking about? That quick looking back all the time?
I think that's the paranoia, yeah, because it's like, ugh. Because I remember the guy that I was with, like, he kept looking out the window. It was literally like a thing out of like Breaking Bad or something. Like a guy kept looking out the window. He's all paranoid that like his apartment was being watched, which like he didn't want to let me leave, which sucked because all I wanted to do was leave. And then like, he's like, no, you can't leave. You got to stay. You got to stay until morning at least. And I'm like, oh, fuck. And like I remember he pulled out a gun at one point, which made me be like, okay, all right, I'll stay if you're gonna freak out. I don't want to get shot tonight. But then the worst thing of all was the fucking guy's like, hey, do you like David Blaine? And I fucking hate David Blaine. I fucking hate David Blaine. And the guy fucking made me watch an entire DVD of David Blaine with him while I'm on like the most miserable drug trip, one of the most miserable drug trips of my life, and I have to watch like David Blaine. It really sucked.
I remember like one time. I'm gonna say his name. He probably don't watch my show, so I'm gonna say Jimmy. My friend Jimmy, right? This motherfucker is like a hardcore fucking drug addict. I mean, I went to his house one time and like I was like, trying to smoke some weed. This was a while ago, and he was like, he opened up for a fucking chest, and I swear this motherfucker had every fucking drug you can think of. LSD, fucking acid, shrooms. And I was like, oh, shrooms, that sounds interesting. I've heard good things about shrooms. I've never heard anybody getting addicted to shrooms. I never heard no one overdosing from shrooms. I never heard no one. And so I asked him, I said, what the fuck is it like being shrooms? And he looks at me and he goes, well, listen, I'm telling you right now, if you do some fucking shrooms, you're gonna be fucking. You can't fucking leave and do shrooms. You know what I mean? You gotta fucking stay here for the rest of the fucking day and let that shit fucking wear off. Because like, and I had shit to do. You know what I mean? I had to work the next morning. I was like, I can't. And he's like, shrooms, like you just fucking like melt into the fucking couch and you just go off. You see fucking unicorns and rainbows and all kinds of fucking shit. And he's like, but sometimes you can have a bad fucking trip and like you might see me as a fucking monster or something. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, it's like, yeah, you hit a point, or well, you just know if like you are gonna be into that or not, you know. I'm a clean boy now. I don't do any drugs anymore. But like, yeah, you know, there was a time when I did enjoy that kind of loss of control. Now it terrifies me. But
oh man, listen, I have an addictive personality. Anybody who knows me have an addictive personality. I get obsessed with things, you know. So like, it's like my last obsession was Funko Pops. I was so obsessed with Funko Pops. I was literally like a crackhead with Funko Pops, and I still collect Funko Pop, but not, you know, this is my new drug. YouTube is my new drug now. Nice. And, but I was like, if I ever did crack or heroin, I would be the best. I'm a perfectionist. So I'm going to be the best at whatever I do. I'm going to be the best heroin or crackhead you ever fucking seen. And I'm going to be dead. So I'm like, I know that I have that addictive personality. And if I fucking try it once, it's off to the races.
Yeah, it's good to know your limits. You know.
Yes.
Definitely good to know your limits. Know like what you should stay away from, because it's like that's a deep pit you can fall into, man. And the bottom of it is death for some people, unfortunately. You know, there's a reason that there's like such a horrible epidemic of opiate use and you know, meth abuse and stuff going on in this country right now. You know.
And even worse than death, I could be out there sucking dicks. You know what I mean? Like that's.
Well, it depends what you're into, but but if you're doing it for drugs, it's usually not a good thing.
If you're doing it for drugs, it's not a good thing. It's not a good thing.
No, yeah, it's generally not a good thing.
I don't care if that's your thing. It's not a good thing.
Yeah, definitely not.
All right, man. So listen, I'm going to shoot to some random horror questions. Are you ready?
All right, let's go.
All right.
Quiz me here.
Give me your top. What's not quiz? Just so fun.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
We're not testing my cred here.
No. Give me your top 3 favorite trauma movies.
All right. So definitely, I love Sergeant Kabuki Man, NYPD. Banger. Total banger. Surf Nazis Must Die.
Oh.
Love it. Great movie. Actually, the buddy that does At Dawn They Sleep, he was in a band with the guy who played Mengele in Surf Nazis Must Die, and they had a Surf Nazis Must Die song.
Nice.
Yeah, Haunted Garage. And
nice.
Number one, Toxic Avenger is like really easy. I love Toxic Avenger, but I think my number one favorite is Poltergeist.
No one's ever said that one. That's a good one. No one's ever said that as a first.
Yeah, that one's a ton of fun. That one's it's so bonkers. I mean, all of Trauma is really bonkers, but Poltergeist has a special place in my heart.
Kabuki Man has always been my number one. Sergeant
Hell
Kabuki
yeah.
Man.
That was my first Trauma movie. In TV production in high school, one of our classmates was like, y'all gotta watch this movie. And our teacher used to let us watch whatever the hell we wanted. And we watched Sergeant Kabuki Man. And I was like, this is incredible. This is amazing. People are out here making movies like this.
Mine was Toxic Avenger Part 3. And my older sister brought that home and it traumatized me. I was like 5 or 6 years old and it fucking
Oh
traumatized
boy.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like fucking traumatized from that movie. But I was a huge fan of the cartoon Toxic Crusaders, so I thought it was the same thing. I had no idea that it was based off of a super violent movie.
You know, that's a very 90s thing, I think, to make like a kid's cartoon off of just some like hard rated R movie, or like, you know, some property, you know, like they were going to have an Aliens TV show. I remember they had RoboCop toys, you know, Terminator toys and stuff.
Rambo has his
Yeah.
own cartoon and toys. I remember, and yeah, RoboCop was violent as shit. RoboCop, the original RoboCop was violent as shit, and yeah, I had the toys, I had a cartoon and everything.
Yeah. No, yeah, I remember I had a ton of Aliens toys and I wasn't allowed to watch the movie for like years.
But the Toxic Crusader cartoon, I had no idea. I had the action figures and I had no idea that it was based off a fucking super violent ass movie.
Yeah, I'm excited for the to see the reboot.
Oh, I hear it's so good. I hear it's good. I hear it's great.
I'm just happy that Troma's finally going to get some Hollywood money. I hope it does really well.
Me too. Me too. I hear. I've seen the reviews because they played in Houston at the film festival there, and everybody's saying it's amazing.
Nice.
I'm definitely looking forward to that. Number 2. All right. Second question. What is one horror movie character that if they were in your house right now, you feel like you could survive?
I don't know. I think probably Chucky. I feel like I could take on a doll. Yeah.
But he's kind of stealth though.
If I knew he was there, I feel like I could take on Chucky. I've always hated like I don't hate Chucky, but I have always hated like what was that one with like the ventriloquist dummy? It was like fuck, I forget the name of it, but it was like a Blumhouse type movie, and I hated that one because I thought it was dumb. Like, just burn the doll, you know, and Annabelle and stuff.
Annabelle,
it's just like, yeah. I don't know. I feel like if I could kick it across the room, I could probably beat it. You know,
Chucky is a good one. See, I've always said this. I would love to say Ghostface, but see, Ghostface is not. I feel like I could some of the Ghostface. I'm not gonna say who because it's sexist, but I feel like I could defeat some of the other Ghostface because some of them are just like teenage girls, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I feel
the problem with Ghostface is though you got to watch your back because there's always two of them.
No, I'm talking about if it's just going to be one. If it's just going to be
one Ghostface, okay, one
Ghostface in the house, and it's one of the teenage girls, I think I'm good.
Well, that's one thing I really like about Ghostface is they played the character very like believable. Like, you know, Ghostface is just always getting their ass kicked. They're always falling over shit. So it's like, you know, I feel like with any of them, you probably have a decent chance. But like you go up against a Michael Myers, a Pinhead, you know, Freddy Krueger, you're done. You're done. I don't care who you are. You ain't surviving that.
Candyman, done.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
If Leatherface is my fucking house right now, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm fucking done. DONE. Now, I mean, Freddy Krueger is fucking terrifying because you can't fucking go to sleep. Do you know how everybody else you can run from? You know what I mean? You can run from and probably get away from. But a motherfucker that attacks you in your fucking sleep, man.
And I love to sleep. You know, that's one of my favorite things.
As soon as I get this interview, I'm going to sleep. Like, I fucking love sleep. I love taking naps. I love all of that. I would be dead in no time. Dead in no time.
Yeah, I think it'd be done too. Although, like, my rage of having my sleep messed with might give me a little bit of strength against Freddy. Like, this is a sacred space for me.
But I am a light sleeper, so the slightest noise wakes me up. So maybe I'll be fine. I don't know. I might
bring him back. Just like tie some strings around like your hands and stuff and rig up some pulleys and like attach some bells or something, second, because I move around a lot in my sleep. And
yeah, me too.
So like, especially if I'm having intense dreams, so that would pull me right out of it.
Yep. And then you bring him to the real world, and
yeah, that's true. Yeah, I was literally just thinking that. Yeah.
No, but you bring him to the real world. I mean, anybody can whoop his ass. He's a pussy once you bring him to the real world.
True.
Yeah. So I mean, I think, yeah. Last question. You ready?
All right, let's go.
This is a loaded one. What's the worst horror movie you've seen recently?
Did you see that A24 movie, Men?
Oh my goodness, yes. I just did a fucking interview with a guy. It just got released last week, I think, or this week. We have the whole fucking half hour of the interview. It's us bashing Men. Wasn't that movie fucking bad?
Yeah, it was like... there was a lot I did not like about that movie. And like it's just... The ending, where like the guy's just constantly being birthed out of his own foreskin. What the hell was? I didn't. It kind of went over my head. I think it was too ridiculous,
But I said in before. I seen that in the theaters. I was seeing a lot of movies in the theaters during like COVID, and I didn't read this description. What it's about? I saw it was an A24 movie. And it had great reviews on Rotten Tomatoes. By the way, do not fucking follow when it comes to horror. Do not follow Rotten Tomatoes. Rotten Tomatoes is the worst fucking source when it comes to horror on the fucking reviews. And I went to see that movie, and I'm watching it, and I'm like, "What the fuck is this?" I didn't read the description, and I'm like, "What the fuck is this?" And then I left it confused. And then finally, I went on my phone and looked up what this movie was supposed to be about. And it said, a feminist filmmaker, horror filmmaker, makes a feminist horror movie about toxic masculinity. That's what that movie was about. And I was like, I didn't even get that message. You know what I mean? Some of it made a little sense, but like, I was like, it kind of went over my fucking head.
I definitely caught like I caught like those undertones, but like, man, like some of the visuals in it, like while they were cool, it was just like I got taken out of it big time,
Yeah.
Just by like, okay, this is fucking like, this is so weird. The guy looks so weird, like when he's like the little boy.
Yeah.
But he looks like got like an old man's face. Like that one kind of lost me.
And I couldn't stand the main character.
Yeah.
I couldn't stand it.
Yeah, another movie that I saw recently that was kind of dog shit was Nefarious. Did you see Nefarious?
All right, so let's talk about Nefarious. I have not fucking seen it because I've heard from like reviewers that it was horrible, right? So I didn't see it. But I've interviewed a lot of indie filmmakers who have said that this is like the next coming of Jesus when it comes to indie horror movies. But I still haven't watched it because the critics have said this movie is a piece of garbage. But indie horror filmmakers are saying this is the greatest thing ever. So you're telling me this movie is a piece of shit?
Well, it's tough because like there were some things I liked about it. I kind of like the concept and stuff, but I definitely got turned off by the fact that it was like basically like Christian propaganda.
That's what I hear. I hear it's a Christian horror movie. Yes.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because like I saw the trailer for it. I'm like, oh, I want to see that. That looks pretty cool. And then I went to go buy tickets to go see it in the theater, and I'm like, it's like not playing in any theaters near me. That's fucking weird because I could have swore I saw a trailer for it at the theater, and then like I did a little bit of research and found out like why it wasn't really in theaters because it's like by this like like studio that's I mean like those big theaters will ice out projects like that, and I'm like, And I had a laugh with some of my friends talking about it's like how pissed I would have been if I'd have gone to see it in the theaters and then just realized like halfway through the movie that it was like, wait a minute, this is like Christian propaganda. But then it's like I watched it when it came out on like streaming, and there was some things I liked about it. It was innovative and stuff, but I think some of it was lost on me because too much of it was like relying on like deep-seated religious beliefs and stuff, Like as a film, it was put together pretty well, but I mean, just I there was some things that I was just like, come on, guys, come on. It had a really dumb ending, I thought, and it was like, I get where they're going with it, and they did a good job of executing it, but I just I can't get on board with it,
Indie horror filmmakers say it's like, oh, it's the deepest movie you ever see. It's the greatest horror movie you see. Like, I'm like,
yeah.
It doesn't seem like it to me. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. But I don't know if they're saying that because I know that indie horror filmmakers don't like bashing indie horror film projects or whatever.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they're saying that because it's an indie horror. I mean, it is an indie horror film that got a theatrical release. So I don't know if they're saying that. I'm just assuming that's what they're doing. They're saying it because it's an indie filmmaker.
Yeah, I definitely know. It's like there's definitely like you're not supposed to talk shit about. It's like especially here in LA, you're like not supposed to talk shit about like any movie because like you could just be talking to someone who worked on it. But I'll say I didn't particularly care for it.
I was talking shit. By the way, I'm not gonna say who or what interview. I was talking shit, but I was interviewing a filmmaker, and I was talking shit about somebody, but I didn't say who it was or anything. And then like later on, I like looked up the person's like who was in the movie, and like the person I was talking shit about was like an actor / actress in the movie. I was like, oh shit.
Whoopsie.
I wonder if that person knew who I was talking about. Yeah,
maybe. Who knows? It depends. Like, were they agreeing with you, or were they being diplomatic?
They were agreeing.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe that person was an asshole. Who knows?
And I was like, oh my goodness, you can't in the indie filmmaking world. I'm new to it. You can't fucking talk shit about anybody because you don't know if somebody's working with someone or is friends with someone. It's just like a close knit group.
It definitely is, yeah. And it's like, you don't really want to make waves or piss people off or make yourself look like a jerk or whatever,
Yeah. But The Exorcist Believer is the worst fucking movie I've seen in a long fucking time. Like,
I know people who thought it was awesome. I didn't really dig it. I mean, it was just too predictable, too much like fan service, like it's like, hey, guys, come on, man. Like, let's do something like original, guys. Come on.
It was so bad. I mean, I hate Halloween Ends less after seeing that movie.
It's funny. It's like somehow they managed to not be as edgy as like, I mean, The Exorcist has a high bar for like being like, like pushing boundaries and stuff. But it's like, if you're going to make like a requel to The Exorcist, you gotta blow the original out the water, man. And like, they just didn't.
But what I think, because so they announced from the jump that this was going to be a trilogy, right? Mm-hmm. I think they're trying to hold shit back and like, I don't know what the fuck they were doing. Listen, I really don't know what the fuck they were doing, but there was. I'm not going to say something because I don't think people have seen the movie yet, but like, The Exorcist was based off of religion. It had a religion. Didn't you get a sense too that they didn't want to talk about religion in that movie?
I got a sense that they like were like actively bashing it, which was just like, it's like, did you see the original movie? You know, like I had a lot of issues. I had a lot of issues with it because it's like, you know what? I get it. I agree with most of what you're saying, but this is The Exorcist.
How can you bash religion in an Exorcist movie?
Exactly. It's just like, yeah, and then I'm not going to get too much into spoilers.
Yeah, I don't
Some
get
of it was like, come on, man. You're gonna, I don't want to do too much spoilers, but yeah, a lot of it was just like, guys, really, we did that.
I was like, okay, what the fuck is this? I'm like, okay, I'm done. All right, Andrew, where can anyone find you, my friend?
You can find me on Instagram's like where I post most of my stuff, and my ad is Fritz Bone Lord, and that's also my YouTube channel, Fritz Bone Lord. At Dawn They Sleep has its own YouTube channel, which is Children of the Night V5, because it is Vampire the Masquerade V5. V5
nice.
Is apparently it's the good one. Everyone tells me so. And yeah, that's about it. I mean, I technically have a Twitter or an X or whatever, but I don't really use it. But yeah, it's like YouTube and Instagram.
So I'm gonna have the links to the YouTubes down in my description box. So click, subscribe, like, watch, do all that good shit.
Would greatly appreciate it.
Andrew, we covered a lot in this interview. We covered that, you've had your balls mashed.
Yep.
We covered that, you've been in the BDS scene.
Mm-hmm.
Hardcore.
Definitely been around there.
Yep.
Been around
Smoke
that block
crack.
a few times. Yeah. Sorry, Mom.
You've also smoked crack.
Yes.
Yes.
Only one time. Never again.
One time.
No, thank you. Decided it's not for me.
But most importantly, what we learned is your amazing novella, Obscene. So please, should be out right now on Kindle. Go out and read that bad boy.
It's definitely a ride. It's a fun ride. If you like revenge stories, revenge horror, it ought to float your boat.
Awesome.
And it's short and sweet. It's only about 90 pages. So I like to keep things tight,
Yes. That's the best way to do it. I mean, nice short reads.
Mm-hmm. I don't have the attention span for that shit anymore. Social media has like destroyed my attention span. I think it's doing that to everybody.
Social media and fucking YouTube.
Yeah.
And it's fucking like attention span is gone. Like I can't even sit through and watch somebody was telling me like, oh no, attention spans in this country is not gone. People sit and binge watch TV shows. I cannot tell you the last time I sat through and binge watched a TV show.
I can't tell you shit about shows that I've binged. It's like it's like almost in one ear out the other.
I can't even focus. I can't even watch TV shows anymore. Like it fucking sucks. Like
yeah, I think it's just the constant flow of information. The brain can only grasp so much and store so much.
Yeah, I want to like finish the last season of Stranger Things. I can't sit through the fucking 2-hour long fucking movie part of it. I can't.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, they did that with the last season.
I can't sit through that shit. So I don't know what fucking happened. So and the new season's coming out, and I'm like, I guess I'm never going to watch it. I just don't know what the fuck happened.
What you do is go on YouTube, watch a recap.
Oh,
see, that's a movie. Yeah, Stranger Things season 4 in 10 minutes.
See, YouTube has ruined it for all of us. It really has.
Yeah, it's that ease of access of information, man. It's rotting all our brains.
Like no one
subscribe to my YouTube channel.
I'm gonna say the majority of people have not sat through this point of the interview, so they missed the part where you smoke crack and all that. So like, yeah, you're pretty good, man. You're good off.
Thank you.
All right, well, everyone, thank you for coming to the Horror Room. I'm Travis Bruce. Please hit that like and subscribe button. I don't say that enough, but please do that.
Hit all of them.
All of them at the same time.
The little bell to get notifications. Do it.
Bell, all that shit. All right, guys. I'll see you next time. Take care.
All right.